What's up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. It's time to talk No Mercy 2017. We're going to be giving our predictions and breaking down our thoughts on the matches that are on the card already, our ideas of what matches might be added to the card, and so on and so forth. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango, and joining me for this edition is Kalen Ferris.
I'm here to chew bubble gum and give mercy, and I'm all out of mercy. Or wait, I'm out of bubble gum. I'm out of both.
I'm out of asses to kick.
That's right.
Before we get started, actually, now that you reminded me of just a legend, even though it's totally not anything about Rowdy Piper,
Right.
Bobby Heenan passed away. I talked about it on the hot tags, but I figured, talk about it for a minute. Any thoughts on Bobby Heenan?
Man, such a good talker, so entertaining. I loved the package that they did for him on Raw. So it's sad to see him go, but everybody's got to go sometime, and at least you don't. Okay, cool, thanks. You're gonna have to teach me that. You could save yourself, but not the ones you love. So yeah, it was sad to see him go, but at least we still have his body of work.
Sad to see, like. I went back and I clicked on a couple things, and it was this kind of like old school Heenan, so fucking great, and sad day. But No Mercy is coming up. Obviously, that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're not talking about Bobby Heenan stuff. I know some people were requesting that we do some kind of like superstar scores Bobby Heenan, which you can't really do because he's not really a wrestler. And then some people said like a retrospective, like a wrestling with the past or something like that. Didn't really have the time to do it necessarily because it's pay-per-view week, but we usually have our pay-per-view-point stuff instead, so we are taking care of that today. And as far as the afternoon on Thursday, the 21st, we still have no kickoff. We would assume that they're going to put something on the card because they always do, even if it's like a Miz TV segment or something like that. But the only thing I can think of that I can see them really adding, because we have a lot of injuries and stuff, is the Hardy Boys versus the Good Brothers.
I could see that. That makes sense. Or possibly something. Goldust isn't working, is he? Because he's been having some TV time lately.
Nah, I think he's just a sacrificial lamb though with that Balor Wyatt feud.
Could be.
Although they could have him against Elias, because Elias isn't doing anything.
Yeah, they'll probably have Elias on the pre-show then. That's a good thought.
Maybe even both. Maybe have Elias do his little thing, have a quick little segment with that, and then a match between the Hardy Boys and Gallows and Anderson. But it's not really looking too great of a card when it comes to like supplemental stuff. To me, it sort of is like a 2-match card.
Exactly. I was just gonna say it's a 2-match card. There's 2 matches, and then other than that, they might be good, but there's really 2 highlights.
And it's one of those things where it's like, I think that there's potential behind every match, but I can't really get pumped about them. Like, well, you know what? Let's start off with what's probably going to be the biggest like sacrifice of a match on the card, which is the Cruiserweight Championship match. Neville and Enzo Amore. That's like, I'm curious to see where they work together and how they can mesh. And if Neville is able to pull something out of Enzo that we haven't seen yet, because Enzo's really never had like a good match. He's always just been kind of fun. But I'm not excited about it, like.
No, I'm not excited about this one. We know Neville's going to retain. That's kind of goes without saying, I think. Enzo's going to do his shtick. I think it's going to be a fairly short match. I think Neville's going to be dominant probably 90% of the time. And it's I'm guessing it's going to be forgetful. This is not one of the ones we're going to be talking about the next day.
No, and I don't even think that they're going to even really dwell on this too long. I think that this is going to be a one-time feud, and we're going to move on to Cedric.
Yep.
Obviously, Neville retains.
Yep.
Would you be okay if Enzo won? I think I'd be pissed.
Yeah, I don't think he deserves it. He doesn't have the work rate. According to all the dirt sheets, he has major heat backstage, so I don't think that would make sense that way. And yeah, I don't think it would make sense.
No, and it's like, well, he's got potential for feuds with a lot of different people going forward, but none of them have to be for the Cruiserweight title. Like, Him versus Noam Dar. They could probably have some good promos back and forth. Him versus Kendrick. That could be interesting. Him versus Gallagher could be interesting, especially because he could like make fun of him a lot and whatever. But I don't want to see him as the champion. I think that Neville has almost built up this kind of idea of like the Cruiserweight Championship should be a wrestler's championship.
Mm-hmm.
And that shoots him in the foot a little bit because then it's like, well, Enzo's not a wrestler. And that's kind of what their feud's a little bit about.
Right.
But then you can't really just switch it over and be like, nah, it's okay. Our champion's just going to be the dude that cuts those promos instead.
Yeah, I think it would be a waste because putting the title on Enzo already has that spotlight. He already is able to capture people's attention. So I think taking the title off of Neville at this point and putting it on Enzo, that doesn't make sense at all.
Who would you like to see as the next champ?
Oh, gosh. I don't know, man. I think Neville should hold it for a while. I want to see him just run through everybody still.
Really? Even though he's held it for... How long has he held it? Well, I mean, there was that little short
stint.
He did
drop it, yeah, real quick.
But that doesn't really count. He's basically held it since he beat Rich Swann, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say Rich Swann. I could see him holding it again.
So they went from TJP to Kendrick to Swann, and then to Neville. So that must have been like Royal Rumble time.
Yeah.
Because he was defending it against Aries at WrestleMania. Yeah, it had to be like Royal Rumble.
Right.
So he's held it a good 9 months.
Yeah, it was, he has it since Royal Rumble. Just looked it up. January 29th, 2017.
Oh, he actually won it at the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
Huh, okay, that makes sense. I think that's good enough that I'd be okay with whatever, like, if they do it on, probably not 205 Live, if they do it at TLC, Cedric, I think, is the next best option. And then after Cedric, I think that he should drop it to Gallagher. But we're talking months from now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I am more excited about that match, though, than I am about Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt.
Oh, boy.
Is just annoying. And now they're building it as man versus man, as if that's supposed to be, like, interesting. Of course it's man versus man. What the fuck else is it supposed to be? That's like saying they're getting a special gimmick match, a wrestling match.
Yeah, their gimmick is no gimmicks. Except Bray Wyatt's still going to come out and talk his gibberish and do the upside down crab walk thing. And
the gimmick is we did the Demon Balor paint job thing at SummerSlam, and we don't want to do it again. So how do we justify him not doing it? How about we just, like, tell you he's not doing it?
Mm-hmm.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, I am not invested in this one in the slightest. I mean, Finn Balor is very talented, and I like watching his matches, but storyline-wise, I don't really give a shit anymore. So can we please be done with this feud and move on? I hope on Monday they both start new feuds, or at least go in that direction, because I've had enough of this one.
To be honest, I don't really care if either of them starts a new feud. I just don't want to see them anymore.
Agreed.
Like, I don't want to wish, like, you know, that they get injured or something like that, but, like...
No, of course not.
Balor is so bland to me, and the longer that time goes by, the more I'm snapping back to what my original point of view was. Because when he first came, I was like, he doesn't seem that special. And then it started to become like, hey, he's putting them some good matches. I can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's getting back to, oh, they're not that great. Like,
I liked him way more in NXT.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think that his matches that I liked the best were because of his competitors.
Yeah.
Like Samoa Joe, I like a lot.
Oh yeah, they had great
Joe
chemistry. Yeah.
And Bray Wyatt, he's just been annoying for years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, like, what am I gonna expect out of this? If Finn Balor ends up getting into a new feud with somebody and struggles to have some kind of charismatic point of view, Bray Wyatt starts just picking on another random person, and he's just kind of like, "Hey, Jason Jordan, man, you know, fucking, you're like the demon of whatever, and this is the shadows are going to attack." It's like, I don't fucking care, Bray Wyatt. You know, like,
you think your daddy can protect you? Well, I got my sister to protect me, man.
That's probably going to be it. Like, And I just don't care. And you can flip a coin. It doesn't matter who wins. Nothing's on the line. Neither of them is going to come out of this looking particularly great. Neither of them is going to come out of it looking particularly bad. It's just going to be filler. And this is going to be, I guarantee you, this is going to be the match where I catch up on as much work as I can. And it's like, I'll write up a couple of those slides for Bleacher Report during this time frame and stuff. And I'm going to have like nothing to say about it.
Yeah, well, I hope we're proven wrong. I hope it's an amazing match, but I am not holding my breath on this one.
Nah, not at all. One match, though, I do think is going to be pretty good because their last match was good, was Ambrose Rollins against Cesaro Sheamus.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one, I think. Ambrose and Rollins are, they have the history and the chemistry. I really like them as a tag team together. And of course, Cesaro and Sheamus have been working well together since they started tagging. And we've seen this before, but it's fun. I'm interested to see what they're going to do this time that's maybe a little bit different.
Yeah, I got a lot of problems with SummerSlam. But the Raw Tag Team Championship match then was one of the few things I didn't.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, that was one of the best matches of the night.
Yeah, so maybe it can fall victim to a little bit of that whole, we've seen them already fight each other, so maybe they don't have too much left in the well. But if they basically do what they did before, it was fun. So I'm highly doubtful that I'm going to dislike what happens here, because I also think that Ambrose and Rollins are going to retain, and the bar is going to, I don't know, it's closing time for the bar. But that is one of those go-to matches where I think that it'll also be forgotten, basically, even if it'll end up being one of the better matches of the night. Nobody will really care too much.
Yeah. And I agree that Ambrose and Rollins are probably retaining this time.
Hopefully. I don't want to see the bar win the titles again.
No. I agree.
Has this lack of pyro and stuff shown a little bit of a weakness when it comes to their entrance to you as it is to me? When they come out and you don't hear that little pa kind of thing with the lights.
Yep.
It's sort of just I kind of just sink a little bit,
With them and with Lesnar and certain people, it makes a huge difference. Lesnar's entrance, ever since they cut his pyro, always feels like it falls flat. So much weaker now.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have it on anybody, I would put it on Lesnar.
Yeah, because he's temporary.
Yeah, he's temporary. He doesn't make that many appearances, so it's not like you're paying for it every single week. And
he's the champion.
He's a fucking champion. So yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Oh, before we move on or continue this one, did we say who we predict in Balor Wyatt?
Nah, it doesn't matter for me.
I know. Doesn't matter for me either, but I'm going to go for Balor.
What the hell? I'll go with Wyatt. I don't even know what I put down on my predictions. I've written 7 predictions posts. I always do it. It's here's 2 or 3 for e-wrestling news. Here's 2 for Bleacher Report. Here's 1 for whatever. I probably contradict myself 100 times because it's
Could be.
I don't update the Smark Out Moment one every day, but I tend to try to double check it the day before the pay-per-view kind of.
Right.
So a lot of times it'll be the expert predictions thing for Bleacher Report, and I'll be they clearly Wyatt's going to win, and then it's the wrestling news top stars, and it's well, I mean, everybody knows that Balor's going to win, and then I'll go to the Smark Out Moment one, and it'll be I don't know.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, I don't know what's happening with that Fatal 5-Way for the Raw Women's Championship match, because I'm on the fence about some of this. I know Emma's not winning.
No, yeah, I agree. That's kind of what I think. I think Emma's not winning. I don't think they're going to put it on Bayley right away because she just came back not too recently.
I'm not too sure. I know.
Really?
I'm the bottom of the barrel to me is Emma. I think she's a guarantee not to win. And the 4th place I would think would be Sasha.
I wouldn't count her out. They like putting the title on her. She's had 17 reigns so far. They've all lasted.
She'll just lose next week then.
Exactly. Yeah, they all last about a week.
But Bayley she threw a little bit of a change in the plans to me. And there's a couple factors that are weighing in here, and this is where I get kind of confused about it. There seems to be contradictory reports of whether or not Shayna Baszler has signed.
Okay.
And we know that they want to do 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen. It's either like they can get the contracts lined up and they can do it,
Mhm.
or that's the reason why it doesn't happen. But they want to. They clearly want to. To have the 4 horsewomen against the 4 horsewomen, to me, you kind of need all 4 of them to stay babyface, because they all are right now.
Right.
And Becky and Charlotte are like on good terms. Bayley and Sasha are on good terms. But if we don't get that 4 horsewomen match, I think that we could see a Sasha versus Bayley feud coming up, and that this could be the start of that, where it's like one of them gets in the way of the other one.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the Nia Jax Alexa Bliss thing, and
Right.
they did the match already.
Yeah. Yep.
So do you do Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss at TLC where the title's actually on the line? And if so, does that mean Nia wins the title and we start building up Asuka to be the one to beat Nia?
I think that's exactly the plan. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think this one, it's going to be a kind of big old clusterfuck. Alexa's going to retain and go on to a singles feud with Nia. And yeah, and you're probably right. Sasha and Bayley will probably go off and do their thing. Emma can, fuck off. And Asuka's going to be the one to topple the giant.
Well, here's the other one. Alexa could retain here.
Mm-hmm.
And they can do, if they don't do Sasha versus Bayley, they didn't get that Bayley Bliss match at SummerSlam that they wanted to do.
They probably will just fucking draw it out for another month.
So they do, I'm thinking Alexa retains, and then you get Bayley versus Alexa Bliss at TLC. Nia Jax, in the meantime, she's had her one-on-one match with Alexa Bliss, and she destroyed her.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe she gets, like, she can get screwed out of this match and not win because there's 4 other women teaming up on her.
Right.
So then that's your excuse, and you go, well, you just got your title shot. And Bayley wins some kind of match against, like, Emma next week to become #1 contender. Something like that, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then, in the meantime, Asuka goes up against, depending on who they want to use her as. Do they want to use her as a babyface? I'm assuming then she goes up against Emma, beats the shit out of Emma. Don't have to worry about her. And then well, here's another thing too. Raw is weird with this pay-per-view schedule. They've got No Mercy coming up this Sunday.
Right.
And they've got TLC coming up at the end of October.
Mm-hmm.
And then we don't have another Raw pay-per-view specifically until either Elimination Chamber or Fastlane.
When is Survivor Series?
That is November 22nd, I think, or something like that.
Okay.
So they do have, obviously, spots on the card. But
Sure.
It's like, we're going to go from No Mercy to SmackDown, and then to Raw, and then dual branded, and then SmackDown with Clash of Champions in December, and then dual branded in Royal Rumble. So there's less Raw events that they need to book for. And I can see Alexa Bliss dropping the title to Asuka either at TLC if they don't want to do the Bayley thing, or at Survivor Series more so. You get Bayley versus Alexa at TLC. Alexa retains. Asuka, in the meantime, beating up Emma and whoever else. And then Asuka wins the title from Alexa at Survivor Series. Continues on at the Royal Rumble, Fastlane, or Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania. We get 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen. Asuka defending her title. At the same time, this is I'm planning far in advance here, so this is hard to tell. I think that the reason why that can be a potential thing that happens is Asuka versus Nia Jax can sell on the Raw side for WrestleMania,
Mm-hmm.
and on SmackDown, either Becky or Charlotte will be the champion. And then we get the 4 horsewomen has SmackDown's champion involved in it, and that's why we don't get 3 women's matches.
Okay.
So I know that Charlotte is going to face Natalya at Hell in a Cell. She can win the title there, still be the champion come WrestleMania time.
Yeah, that's plausible.
The only downside to that is Alexa Bliss isn't on WrestleMania. Which that sucks. But they could always do
She will
Alexa
be.
versus Nia versus Asuka.
They're really behind Alexa Bliss, so I think she's definitely going to have a match at least, even if she's not champion.
Very envious that they're behind her.
Hey.
Basically, what I think this boils down to is Asuka's getting that belt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just happening. So does she beat Nia or does she beat Alexa? That's the end of it. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how that would do it. I prefer to see her versus Nia Jax, but that might be better for WrestleMania.
Or, yeah, so you know what? Because I was just gonna say, or we could get Nia wins the title here, and then we eventually do Alexa versus Asuka. But who's gonna buy Alexa being able to beat Asuka if Nia couldn't?
Mm-hmm.
So Nia versus Asuka at WrestleMania makes more sense.
I would love to see Nia Jax win the title on Sunday, but I'm not holding my breath for it.
No, I'm thinking Alexa retains.
I agree. That's my prediction, but if I could book it, I'd put the title on Nia Jax and have her hold it till WrestleMania and have Asuka, I'd have screwy finishes or something, where she wouldn't be beaten. I'd still have Asuka undefeated. So I would be, the longtime champ Nia Jax versus undefeated Asuka at WrestleMania, and that's when Asuka would beat her.
Who do you want to beat Asuka?
Probably Charlotte.
I think I'd still go with Ember Moon.
Yeah.
Just
actually.
keep her as undefeated until Ember Moon can come up to the main roster.
I had not considered anybody on NXT.
Or it could be Kairi Sane.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Yeah, those are probably my main two.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it. I don't think anybody else really needs it.
No.
And again, neither of them really need it, but,
right.
I think it all boils down to either Asuka's winning that belt at WrestleMania or she's going as champion. I
agree. I think she's going to be in the title match for sure.
Yeah.
And I think she will still be undefeated by WrestleMania.
Yeah, I still think so too. Although it'd be really dumb, and it could be the type of thing that WWE would do, where it's like, yeah, but you know what? We need to really put this person over to kickstart their feud. So let's have like Emma get a quick pinfall on her or something. Like I could see that kind of bullshit happening.
Yeah, how they just sort of waste something that they started to build up, like with Charlotte's pay-per-view streak or Bo Dallas or any of the kind of streaks that they're like, oh, you know what? Nah, we're not going to do that.
Yep. Just Vince, one random day is just kind of like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of undefeated streaks. Ugh. I'm also confused about what's going to happen with this Intercontinental title match. That's a 50-50.
You think?
Yep.
Oh, I don't think so. I think the whole Jason Jordan experiment here is kind of fizzled flat, I believe. He's not over. I mean, nobody seems to really care. Miz is still doing some of the best work of his career, both in ring and on the mic. So I don't know why they would ever think about switching it on to Jason Jordan right now. Doesn't make sense.
I got a couple ideas why they might.
Lay it on me.
One of them, in general, just because it isn't working. And if they are going under the philosophy of like, well, people don't care enough about this, let's put the Intercontinental title on them and then they'll care.
See, I don't like that philosophy, but I could see that.
And that could go one of two ways if they do that. They could either have that where they blindly think, and I like Jason Jordan, don't get me wrong, but he's not getting over the way that they want him to. And WWE has a habit, they've done it with Roman Reigns, they've done it with John Cena, they've done it with plenty of other people, where if they want somebody to be over as a babyface, they refuse to admit that they're not over as a babyface. And sometimes those people can turn heel and they can eventually, figure things out and stuff like that. But then they kind of do the opposite sometimes too, where it's like, well, that person's over as a babyface, but not in the way that we want, like Ryback.
Mm-hmm.
Miz and Jason Jordan, I think, is a scenario where Jason Jordan could get that title And they can work under the philosophy of that'll make it important, and then we can have him be like the fighting champion, kind of like what Styles is doing, because I think Styles is dropping that title soon. But maybe not. All depends. And they can kind of like almost do like that Intercontinental U.S. Open kind of thing, Open Challenge. Obviously, they're not going to call it the U.S. Open, but the Intercontinental like championship as another wrestler's belt, and Jason Jordan can fulfill that role. But they always have it in their back pocket that he can let that title go to his head and he can turn heel. Miz is a guy that is good enough on his own that he doesn't need the belt to be able to go out there and start a feud. And we can start a feud between The Miz and Finn Balor with or without that title.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Jordan, on the other hand, if he's going to start a feud with somebody, it's going to be a little bit harder, because if they attack him and they start doing stuff with, like, you know, you're kind of like daddy's boy sort of a thing, they've already done it a little bit, so they're retreading familiar ground. But if somebody challenges him for the title, it's a little easier. Then it's just he's defending his championship. And I'm also a little bit iffy on what Samoa Joe's going to be doing in the future, so maybe they do like Joe Jordan, maybe they do Miz Balor, maybe they switch that up, and maybe it's like Miz Joe and Jordan goes with somebody like Bray Wyatt, but I don't necessarily think so.
Right.
But I do think that there's a good chance that Jordan wins his belt. Right now, I'm 51-49 Miz retaining, just because it is a championship change.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm more confident in Alexa Bliss retaining than I am in The Miz retaining.
I don't know. See, I believe that the man should make the title. The title should not make the man. And if you're putting it on Jason Jordan and doing it to build him up, I don't like that thing. I know they do it sometimes, but Miz is killing it right now. He is making that title very prestigious. And yeah, I know if Jordan wins, then that, you know, transfers some of that to him, but I don't see the reason why they would do that right now. I don't think Jason Jordan is to that level yet.
No, he's not on par with The Miz by a long shot.
Right.
But I am kind of... One of the other reasons why I think so, that could a potential title change could happen,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any other titles are changing hands. We got Cruiserweight title being retained, Tag Team titles being retained, Alexa Bliss retaining, and spoiler alert, Universal title, that's not changing hands.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't necessarily, there's no, you know, prerequisite of number of titles that need to change at a pay-per-view. We've had pay-per-views with no title changes.
Yeah, we've had them where every title's changed hands.
Yeah.
I am leaning a little bit more towards The Miz, just barely, but I don't know. I might change my mind at the last minute when Ben's asking people for their predictions. I might just go with Jordan.
Right now I'm going with Miz.
And we were just talking about it a second ago, the Universal Championship match, Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman. I want Braun Strowman to win so fucking bad, but he's not going to.
This is going to be a bathroom break match. No, I'm kidding. This is going to be fucking fantastic. I agree. I would love to see Braun Strowman take the title. I think he will eventually. And I hope they pull the trigger sooner than later, because he is on fire right now. He is so hot. And if they were smart, they'd put the title on him ASAP. I think they're going to let it go for a little bit more. Possibly Survivor Series, but I don't think we're going to see it this Sunday.
I don't think he's getting it until maybe Survivor Series of 2018.
Oh, gosh.
I'm nervous.
At least by WrestleMania. Please have him in the title picture of WrestleMania.
I doubt it. I'm really nervous that this is what's going to happen, that we're going to get the exact same thing that happened with Samoa Joe, where he was built up to look like he could take Lesnar out.
Mm-hmm.
He just flat out doesn't. They make a big deal out of, oh my God, nobody's been as close as they were to beating Brock Lesnar than Braun Strowman was, and he's a fucking insane monster that you can't deny that he took the fight to Brock Lesnar, whatever, but Brock Lesnar won, and he is the beast, and of course it makes sense that he whatever. And then they try to move on. They try to take Braun Strowman into some brand new feud with somebody else. Maybe it's John Cena afterward. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's Samoa Joe or something like that. But I'm thinking that they're going to just do that. And then at Survivor Series, whether it's like Brock Lesnar fights again or not, he's not fighting at TLC.
No,
not
happening. I don't think so.
But I don't even think he's going to necessarily fight at Survivor Series. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if he either doesn't fight at Survivor Series or he doesn't fight at the Royal Rumble. But even if he does, I think they're going to be throwaway matches. I think it's going to be like Brock versus Finn Balor and Brock versus Wyatt, or maybe Brock versus Cena again. I hope not. I don't think that Cena's going to really be around too long either. I think he's just going to doing this Roman Reigns thing just for the hell of it, and that's about it. But we could get that as a potential thing. We could get like another random match with somebody like... No, you can't really get Big Show again. He's out for a while. Yeah, I think Wyatt and Balor probably are just going to get tossed aside, and that's going to be kind of it. And then WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar drops it to Roman Reigns. WWE is totally perplexed about why everybody's chanting for Randy Savage in the main event and throwing beach balls around and not paying any attention and booing the end of WrestleMania again. And then we start the Roman Reigns tour, and Braun Strowman doesn't do another Roman Reigns feud. Or they do the Braun Strowman Roman Reigns feud to put over Roman Reigns even more and have him keep beating him.
Yep.
And then Braun Strowman just doesn't win that Universal title. I think if he wins a world title, he's going to have to go over to SmackDown.
Oh, I would hate to see that.
That's what pisses me off about this Universal title situation. You don't have the options. If you stick it with Lesnar and you stick it with Goldberg and you do this whole thing from this year, nobody else gets a chance. So we could have had Samoa Joe as champion. And we could have had Braun Strowman as champion, but I don't think it's happening. And it's really annoying because it's like, Joe, I think it's a travesty that he's not won a mid-card title or a world title yet.
Yeah. And
Strowman is like, Jesus, this dude has been kicking so much ass. He is the most entertaining person they've got, I think, right now.
By far.
And that's saying a lot because I really like Ziggler. I am a huge fan of Owens. Styles is the man. But nobody makes me more excited to see go out there and do something than Braun Strowman.
I agree. Yeah, he's the highlight of the show for sure. Now, we both agree that Lesnar's retaining on Sunday. My question to you is, what kind of finish do you think it'll be? I'm thinking it's going to be some kind of non-finish, like a double count out or something like that. I think they're not going to even, because having Strowman get pinned clean, I think does him a disservice.
I think he's going to get pinned clean, but I don't think that it's going to be. See, I don't even want to give them more credit.
I think that would kill some of his momentum. I think
that they're going to. This is man. I got conflicting ideas in my mind because I hope this isn't the case, but I think it could be the case where in their mind they're gonna have Lesnar and Strowman beat the crap out of each other so much that if Lesnar wins, they can justify it as two behemoths fought each other. Lesnar just happened to be the better man tonight. The end. And then it's like, let's have Braun Strowman beat the shit out of somebody on Raw to make up for it.
See, I think that kills some of his momentum. I think they need to ride that, not put the brakes on.
I hope so. Because I want Braun Strowman to win the title.
Oh, absolutely. But me too.
If he's not going to win the title, they at least need to make sure that he's not going to be like you can't have him do like the Goldberg thing. Don't have Lesnar and Strowman fight for 6 minutes. where Lesnar hits him with a couple of suplexes and then hits him with an F5 and that's it. Make it something a little bit weird. Make it like that Paul Heyman introduced a bell and Strowman got knocked in the head with the bell. Or like, something that's like a little bit shady.
Yeah, I think we're going to have some kind of screwy finish here. I don't think it's just going to be Brock Lesnar dominated him, pinned him, and that's it. We're going to have some kind of, I don't know, something with the ref or a distraction or something with the timekeeper or a double count out. Or I would really not like to see just a straight clean finish. I think that would do a disservice to the match.
What I think is a thing that can kind of get in the way of this is I don't think we're going to get a fucked finish for 2 matches, and I think we're going to get one for either this one or Cena Reigns, and it's which one do we get? Because John Cena versus Roman Reigns to me ends one of 2 ways. Roman Reigns pins John Cena clean.
Yep.
Or we get interference. That's it. There's no way John Cena beats Roman Reigns clean.
No, absolutely not. Roman Reigns will hit him with a spear, and that'll be it. 1, 2, 3. I mean, it'll probably be the 3rd spear or whatever, but yeah, he's going to spear him. 1, 2, 3.
And I also think that that's going to be our main event. So that's why, another reason why I think that Lesnar is going to just beat Braun Strowman, and people are going to be like, all right, well, it wasn't the main event, so it doesn't really matter as much. We're going to go home with Cena Reigns, and we're going to kind of forget about how Braun Strowman lost. The big idea is just, wow, they fought each other a lot, and let's kind of brush aside that Strowman lost kind of a thing. And then Cena Reigns, there is a potential. A lot of people think that. I don't think it's the case, but some people think that Undertaker is going to get involved. I don't think so.
No.
I think that that's wishful thinking.
Now, with Cena Reigns, you think that's going to be the last match on the card?
Yep.
Explain why you think that.
I think that they know that should be a potential WrestleMania.
Well, they both are.
Yeah, but I think that Cena Reigns is something that they're doing to get out of the way so that they don't have that in their back pocket for WrestleMania. I think it's kind of like stubborn Vince McMahon philosophy of like, no, I want that Lesnar Reigns match. If people think that Cena Reigns is a better option, or that Samoa Joe Lesnar is a better option, or that Strowman Lesnar is a better option, let's do them well in advance.
Get them out of the way.
Put them on the B shows. Put them on, Great Balls of Fire and stuff. Give those pay-per-views a boost. And then we're down to, it has to be Lesnar Reigns because there's no better option. And I think that that's why they're going to put Cena Reigns at the end, because they're going to be like, well, we're not going to get a new champion, so we don't want to end with like a big celebration of Strowman winning or Strowman losing. So let's crown Roman Reigns. He took the pinfall at SummerSlam. Let's make up for it. Let's have him, I hope this isn't the case, let's have him beat John Cena and he earns Cena's respect. Because I really, 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 really don't want to see, or maybe I do want to see it, just to see it backfire on them. John Cena have to go out there on Monday Night Raw and be like, I don't really like Roman Reigns, but he's proven that he's the guy. He beat me fair and square.
I think that is what they're going to do. Oh, yeah. No, that's the only reason why this is, so Cena can put over Reigns. Mm-hmm. And the crowd is not going to like it.
Nope. That's why I think it's going to be the main event, though. I think they want this to end with Brock Lesnar winning and then Roman Reigns winning. So that way people can look at it and go, you know what? Roman Reigns lost at SummerSlam, but he's on his revenge tour. He just beat John Cena. He beat him clean. That way it's like, okay, well, you just beat the top guy. Of course, you're in the hunt now for Brock Lesnar, that kind of thing.
I don't know. My prediction is that Cena Reigns will be the second to last, and Lesnar Strowman will be the final match. But you never know. I mean, you make a good argument, but I still feel like the Universal Championship match is going to be the final match.
It's got to be one of these two. I mean, it's certainly not going to be like, Finn Balor.
No.
But you're going with Roman Reigns winning clean?
I am going with Roman Reigns winning clean with a spear. Yep.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's going to be like the third spear.
Yep.
Now, is he going to kick out of the F5? Or the FU? Or the Attitude Adjustment?
That's what it's called now. Yeah, he is. Yep.
How many of them though?
At least one. I'm guessing probably two. So I'll say he'll kick out at 2 AAs.
I might go so far as to say he's going to kick out of 3 of them.
That would not surprise me in the least.
It's definitely a possibility. It kind of depends on how long they keep that STF on.
Mm-hmm.
If that's going to be like he drags it out, he barely reaches the ropes, but then he pulls him back into the middle of the ring, that kind of a thing, then maybe they're not going to hit 3, but at least 1, that's a guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
2, I think, very good likelihood.
I agree.
But, man, this should have been WrestleMania's card.
Absolutely. Yeah. These 2 matches.
Yep. Brock Lesnar should have put over Braun Strowman at WrestleMania. John Cena should be fighting Roman Reigns. And I don't even know about Samoa Joe, because Cena Samoa Joe seems like it has to happen too.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe Samoa Joe should have been facing... who's a good option for Samoa Joe at that point? If these 4 are tied up together, then... I mean, we're not going to get Samoa Joe Undertaker.
Balor?
I'd probably opt for something else.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe that's Big Show's retirement match?
Possibly. Gosh,
yeah,
I don't know.
Ambrose would have been a possibility, I think, if they're not holding the tag titles, do some kind of like no DQ match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
I
don't think WWE has this shit figured out.
No, they're making it up. We were probably thinking way farther ahead than they are.
Yeah, they're sitting there just going, as long as we get Reigns, Lesnar,
mm-hmm.
that's all that matters. And maybe Nakamura Styles, although clearly they don't know what the fuck they're doing with SmackDown either.
Right.
We'll end up getting some weird fucking WrestleMania card. We're going to look at this like 6 months from now, and we're going to be like, really? We're getting like... I don't know, like Jinder Mahal versus Mike Kanellis, like, you know. I don't know. Well, what do you think is going to be the best match of the night? What do you think is going to be the worst, most annoying thing of the night?
I think the most fun match is going to be Lesnar Strowman. That's the one I'm looking forward to most. I think the crowd's going to be really hot for it. Although I think Lesnar's retaining, I think it's going to be the best match. I would prefer to see Strowman take the title, though. As far as the most disappointing. Yeah, Neville versus Enzo is going to be kind of blah. And Balor versus Wyatt, just because I'm not invested in the story, I'm probably not going to care too much about it.
Definitely Balor Wyatt's my lowest thing.
Yeah.
And I agree about Strowman Lesnar. I think even though that match is going to annoy me at the end of it,
mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be fun to watch them just kind of clash.
Yep.
So tell us what you guys have to say about this in the comment section below, whether you agree or you disagree or you're somewhere in the middle, which there's no term for that, is there? Indifference, I guess?
Yeah.
There should be like another, it's like agree, disagree, it's like mid-agree or something like that.
Meh.
Meh-agree. Yeah, go ahead and drop those thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that already, and ring that bell to check off for notifications for the next couple of videos. The next one, of course, is obviously going to be the post show for No Mercy, so stay tuned for that coming up on Sunday night. And follow us on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment. Follow Kaylin at
Kaylin Ferris on Twitter, and you can check out Northwest Ohio Wrestling on Facebook. Our next event is coming up Saturday, October 14th in Toledo, Ohio. So check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then we got one 2 weeks later, October 28th. It's going to be our Halloween show.
They're going to be themed?
I'm not sure what they have planned yet. That would be cool if they did. But the one coming up
you're going to dress up, right?
Oh, absolutely. The one on the 14th is our 2-year anniversary show.
Since you are doing ring announcing, you should totally dress up as me, Gene.
As long as I don't have to shave my head.
Bald cap. Yeah. Bald cap, mustache, start being like a really crass old man.
I'm halfway there.
Obviously, follow me at Tony Mango, at Fanboys Anonymous. I know all that kind of crap. You guys know the story by now. And send in your mailbag questions over the next couple of days, too, because next week, our main event is going to be the mailbag, and I'm not too sure exactly when we're going to do that, maybe Friday or so, so you do have about a week, but the sooner you send those questions in, the better. I know Peter has sent in a couple of questions already, so thank you, Peter, for that. And the rest, whenever you guys send them in, I will backlog them, and we will start trying to figure out our answers to them. But we'll do that when we do it. And in the meantime, click on all the other stuff if you haven't followed all the other things we've done already. And stay tuned to that other thing and whatever else is coming up next. So thanks for listening to this, everybody. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.